everybody. My name's Craig.
I'm Brian.
I'm Burke.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is Get Dunked On, the podcast.
The podcast, everybody. All right, Burke, here we go. Just like we practice on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Love.
Dude,
I have no
that
idea what
was
else.
perfect. That was perfect.
Asshole.
It's a pitch perfect. See, this is what it's like for me every week. That's what it's like for me every single week.
I have some jingle in my head every time that I expect you to do and you never do. And then you put me on the spot and I didn't do it.
Wait, what's the jingle?
I don't know. We'd have to do the whole intro over again.
All right, hold on. Let's do it.
Oh,
Go
we're
ahead,
doing the
Craig.
whole thing over
Let's
again?
do it. Just hit it.
Hello, everybody. My name's Craig.
I'm Brian.
I'm Burke.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is Get Dunked On, the podcast.
I don't. It was some guitar thing. I can't. But yeah, I don't know why. I just think it
Was
was
that
massive.
Through the Fire and Flames?
Like, it put like Through Fire and the Flames, something going through my head. Yeah. But seriously, like as soon as Craig said, "And this is good," I was like, "Oh yeah, Through Fire and the Flames."
The classic opener.
Oh,
Speaking of extremely fast movement and totally just getting jazzed up to move a ton, I went today earlier to go grab my wife lunch. She forgot her lunch, which I ate, and it was just some leftovers from last night. But I went to go get her lunch. She ordered something from a local sandwich shop here, and I went to go pick it up. So I grab it. I go take it to her. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that down here.
So
And,
I've got a question. I'm gonna have to barge in. Does your wife, or do you not allow your wife to order Jimmy John's because you're afraid of that whole, delivery guy scenario going
She
on?
doesn't like Jimmy John's.
Okay.
She doesn't like deli meat, which is really weird. She worked
Follow-up question. How long
Okay.
has your wife been a communist?
For as long as I've known her.
Okay, just checking.
So I drop it off and I'm driving back home. The route back to my house, Brian and Burke, you've both been to this route. It's kind of like the back route that I showed you, Brian. Oh, do you remember the street with all the dicks on it, Brian?
I do, actually.
That street.
Fuck you. I almost spewed water everywhere.
They're still there. All the dicks are still there on the road. So it's still Dick Road. Even though it's Duke, it's called Dick now. But I'm driving back and I'm at a stoplight. It's like a T stop, right? And I'm at the one end of the T that's about to run into absolutely nothing. And so I'm trying to turn left. And I see this car in front of me. It's a nice little beige convertible Beetle, Volkswagen Beetle in front of me. It looks like a newer one, but it's convertible. It's all beige, including the soft top on it. So it looks really weird to me. I just wasn't thinking about it being. So it looked really weird to me. I just wasn't thinking about it being that way. Anyway, that's besides the point. I'm looking and I'm pulling up to him. I'm like, oh, there must be a motorcycle in front of this person because they're like 2 car lengths away from the light. I kind of look. No, there's nothing in front of this person. They are just sitting 2 car lengths away from the light. So I'm sitting there like, okay, well, I can see they're a little bit older. Not that big of a deal. This light usually changes in about a minute and a half or so. I have my suspicions that this is one of those lights that you have a trigger for, either like a sensor or a weighted or a plate that you sit on for like it hits the weight or something. There's something there. It's my thought process that there's some kind of sensor. And this elderly couple, the people inside, they look extremely old based on the mirrors that I was looking in for their car. And they're just sitting there. So about probably a minute goes by and the light still hasn't turned, that's about the extent of how long it should be. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to be a jerk. I don't know. I could be wrong. Why are they sitting back this far anyway? I'm thinking maybe they're trying to avoid getting hit by like a semi if it turns down there, even though this road isn't like a road that semis go down at all. But I'm like, well, maybe they think that, and that's why they're trying to stay back. About another 30 seconds, 45 seconds goes by. And I'm like, okay, it might be time for me to start thinking about action here because I either need to get in front of these people or I need to shoot their tires out. It needs to be one of these 2 things happening. So here's my question to all of you. What's the protocol for alerting a very elderly couple in a convertible Beetle in front of you that is 2 car lengths away from the pressure plate or the sensor, and you know they're not getting close enough for it to actually hit. So you're just going to be sitting there indefinitely. What's the protocol, Brian? What do I do to get them to move forward?
Okay, question.
Go ahead.
The road that you're on and your ability to essentially, I'm going to call it pull up next to them is impossible, right? Because you have an opposite lane.
I could not pull up to their left. I could pull up to their right. That really, I think there was enough room for me to actually potentially pull around them and get right back into the lane. That there's, I think, enough room for that. But I'm just trying to see if you had to get their attention to move forward, what would you do? If you have more questions, go ahead.
Okay, so at this point, I don't want to honk because I'm thinking honk equals I'm like attempted murder at this point,
Right.
based on the age descriptors you've given me. So
Right.
I'm not going to honk. I might kind of roll down my window and like wave a little bit, like trying to go be like more of like a friendly, like not like a frantic wave, but like a hello, good citizen wave.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, Michelle. What would you do if you were trying to get them to move forward?
I would put on my hazard lights, get out of my car, walk up to their window, and be like, "What the fuck?"
Jeez!
Wow! Holy shit! What the fuck? Are you blind, old man?
I have actually done this at a Taco Bell in the middle of the night because some idiot was passed the hell out, blocking the whole drive-thru.
What?
That is amazing.
Wow.
Burke, and what was I did bring this up to Burke earlier because him and I have been kind of talking all day, so it was just like in conversation I brought this up. Burke, what would have been your response?
So, first of all, now that I've heard the story out loud, shame on you for not noticing it in the first place and going around them. It's just horrible observation skills.
I noticed it on the onset. I noticed I could have, and I went, I wonder if I could get around and do that. But then you're sitting there thinking, there's no way they're just going to sit there that whole time. And maybe this is me just having too much faith in humanity. I'm thinking there's no way they're going to sit there this whole time and not start moving up. As soon as I start moving up, they're going to move up, and then I'm going to be forced to fucking turn right.
Yeah.
Because there was like 3 cars behind me. And so I'm like, no matter, and then I'm going to be forced to turn right. Not that it's like this is literally, sheesh, like 3/4, maybe a mile and a half, excuse me, from my house. Like it's not that far away.
No,
it's not
I know.
it's not gonna kill time. I literally go up and there's a church right to the right. I turn right, I turn left into the church, pull back around, and I'm basically on my way. But I was sitting there going, there's no way that they're just gonna sit here the whole time.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
But
fair
go
enough.
ahead.
Okay,
But go ahead.
All right. So I think my actual reaction would probably get out of the car like Michelle's, because I've done it before. Just get out, go talk to him, say, hey, can you move up? There's pressure plates. But I do like my actual response to you when you asked me earlier. It was I would yell, honk, flick them off, get in or get out of my car and go piss on their car or in it, depending on the convertible situation.
What? Does no one here have grandparents?
They're all no.
My grandparents don't sit 3 car lengths away from a light.
My grandfather does not drive a Beetle convertible. He drives a BMW Z4. Come on. He knows how to drive.
Oh, damn. You got a cool grandpa.
Yeah.
I don't know if my grandma knows how to drive anymore, so I don't know. She might be the one that does that. She's the only one I've got left. I just felt like weird thinking about getting, because that was one of the thoughts that went through my head. I went, do I get out? Do I like go and talk to him? Do I say something? Or do I get out and they're like, holy shit, Sasquatch is coming. And then they fucking take off and then they get hit. And now I'm at fault somehow. It's like involuntary manslaughter because I scared the shit out of them. Like, I don't know. There was just so many things that were going through my head and I didn't know how to go about it. And I was like, fuck this. So I just kind of sat there and eventually they started scooting on up. And I think, I swear to God, the dude and the girl, the dude was driving and the chick was in the car too. And they were arguing at one point. Like, and it had to be in my head. One of them was going like, fucking John, move up, dude. Like there's a sensor on this. It's not turning. You must be an idiot. And he's like, don't tell me what to do, Elizabeth. And like smacks at her and shit. Like that's what I'm imagining in my head for this.
Oh, he's abusive?
I said smacks at
that
her.
guy.
I said smacks at her. Like, wait, Burke can see what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
go away. Kind of like
Yes.
forget you type movement.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm imagining is going on in this car is one of them's yelling at the other one for being an idiot, and they're not taking their advice, and that's how the whole thing was going. So I was just wondering how everybody else would kind of handle that situation if it was something that actually happened. So I probably ended up sitting there for about, I don't know, 2 minutes and 15 seconds or something like that, waiting for this guy to go. And I didn't feel too bad because there was like 4 or 5 cars behind me. Nobody else was doing anything either. Granted, I don't know how much they could tell that there was no car in front of them. I may have been the only one privy to that information, but I don't know. It put me in a weird situation where I was like, I really don't know what to do because I feel like as soon as I make a decision, that's when they're going to correct. And I'm going to be like, fuck, standing up. I'm sitting there outside of the car because I hesitated initially like a minute because this light usually is like a minute and a half if you get there at the wrong time. Like if you just miss the light, you're there for like a minute and a half. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, well, maybe they just missed it or something like that. And so I'm like, I'm not going. But by the time, as soon as I get out, that's what's going to turn green. And I don't want to be like, and so it just was a whole thing. And I just didn't know. I was very curious about how everybody else would react in that situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm the least violent out of everybody.
I mean,
but,
like, that's what I would want to do, but I feel like part of me would not actually do that. Like, I feel like I would be nicer at first, and then if I found out they were being stupid, that's when I would, like, start cussing them out.
See, I'm just so...
That's the Jersey in you now, Michelle.
Oh, no, people don't stop at red lights in Jersey. They stop at green lights. They don't stop at red lights.
Ugh.
Oh, weird place. Everything's backward there.
Everything's backwards there.
What would a Canadian do in Jersey?
Probably offer the older couple some Timbits.
Oh, we saw you there. Then you didn't have any donuts on you. We thought you might want one. Oh, and if you wouldn't mind, you could move up and we could get this pressure plate going so we could turn left, sir.
Just in there. Actually, you know what really would happen is that you lean out the window, and of course, there's a Royal Canadian Mountie there on horseback, of course. You know, and it's like, oh, could you just let them know about the pressure plate? Oh, of course. He goes up there. Oh, how you doing, sir? Oh, hi. Hi. We were just up here arguing over which tastes better, maple syrup or enriched maple syrup.
Well, that's
sorry for some reason I had a whole scene in my head.
That was beautiful.
Well, that's what we're getting into today. We're going to be talking about the great country,
Mexico,
our neighbors to the north, the true north, Canada,
Greenland?
Alaska.
Oh,
I do want to mention too that this topic was partially inspired by one of our Canadian fans.
Yes.
Yay! And as much as we rip on Canada, we do love it.
Thanks, Casey.
I absolutely love Canada.
They write my paycheck for the most part, so yeah,
that helps.
Yeah,
I've always loved Canada in some way. Granted, I can't say that I've had this like massive love for, but it's always something I've very much enjoyed, and I've always loved the potential even stereotypes of it. Like, someone's so nice. Like that's their stereotype is like, oh, they're really nice, man. You're like, shit, they must be a good country. Yeah. You can't be too mad about it at all.
So in my new position at work, I'm dealing with the whole company now, not just like the Houston branch like I was before. So now I have to, like, I'm talking to Canadians more than half of my day, and it's not just process versus process, right? It's the whole way you treat people, and the way I treat a Canadian is a whole lot different than the way I treat, anyone from the US. It's kind of funny. Like, I have to put hi in front of emails instead of just Bob, can you do this for me? Or hey, I'm following up. No, it's good. Hey, Jimmy. Just wanted to see how you're doing today, and if you had a chance to get to this yet. Not, where the fuck is this?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of funny.
So, and let me guess, they probably respond with, "Oh sure, no problem, I'll get right on
Pretty
it."
much. Yeah, and it never happens. I'm just kidding.
I mean, granted, throughout the course of this podcast, I'll tell you the story of the dark side of Canada, though. So don't you worry about that. We may see. No. Canada has some.
Or is it the great?
Has a dark side.
Is it the far north in the winter?
Well, yeah,
science facts. Everybody.
Okay. So Brian, I know you've got the dark side of Canada. Do you have a good Canada story, something that you've really enjoyed, or something that really happened really cool there?
Yeah. So, so the first time I ever actually dealt with Canada, or first time I was ever like in Canada, I guess is the best way to put it, is when I was a kid. It was 1997, I want to say, something like that. And as a family, we took a trip to Canada. Now, being from Michigan, we drive south to get to Canada, and that is true from where I live. I know it sounds weird, but it's true.
It's true. I haven't thought about that, but yeah, you would.
Yeah. So we drove south and then went to Canada, and when we got there, it was one of those things where this is the first time I was ever leaving the country, and so my dad and my mom, were really hyping it up for us because my brother and I were just kids, and we're like, you're in an entirely foreign land. And I'm like, oh, really? And, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. But they go, guess what? They don't use American dollars. I'm like, what? Like my little child mind was blown, right, by this idea of that, that the money was different. But what was even crazier is during the late 90s, the American dollar versus the Canadian dollar was so powerful that I was a fucking millionaire. So I go to Canada and I was super rich all of a sudden, and they were selling a bunch of Pokemon cards. And so I go in with a $5 and I'm like, and I'm thinking I'm going to get like 10 Pokemon cards, and they hand me like 50. I'm like, I'm rich. And I just started buying all these Pokemon cards. I'm like, Clefairy, hell yeah, rich. I just bought so much stuff. And oh man. So as a kid, that's what I thought Canada was. It was a place I went to go buy stuff cheaply.
I've got like 10-year-old Brian on my head, just sitting there throwing off ones, like making it rain inside of this nerd shop. And the people are sitting there and they're just like falling down, and they're just staring at him very blankly and like sliding over your Clefairy card. He sits there and he throws out a 5, and they roll back like a holographic Charizard to him.
It seriously was like that. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we did other stuff in Canada too. Like we did the, the Niagara Falls and the Maid of the Mist and all that stuff. Did you guys ever do the Maid of the Mist?
No.
I have not.
I've only been to Canada once in my living memory.
Oh,
seriously?
Okay.
I went once when I was really little, and like we did a zoo thing and all this stuff, but like I literally don't remember a single bit of it.
Okay. Well, okay. Go ahead.
I'm baffled. How many more? Sorry, I just imagine everyone in Michigan like going to Canada, Canada on the weekends.
There's a lot of people that did that were our age, from the age of like 19 to 21.
Why?
You would jump over obviously and get the drinking age a little bit lower, and maybe do that and whatnot. But obviously that was as we've talked before, and as you guys know, never was really my bag. I was more of a sitting inside playing video games like Halo during this time. So that was definitely one thing, and that was the only time I ever went to Canada was for it was MLG Toronto back in 2007.
Wow. So I've been to Canada more than Craig. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Probably.
Wow. Look at that.
Brian, you were there with us during that all MLG Toronto.
Absolutely.
situation.
When we got stopped by Border Patrol.
Yeah. So we're driving in, and they start talking to us, like doing the normal, what are you doing here? What's going on? So blah, blah, blah. And of course it's me and Brian and 3 other people, right?
Yeah.
Tony, Wayne, Josh, right? Tony, Wayne, Josh,
yeah.
So there's 5 of us there. We're all roughly between the ages of 2007. What's that put us at? 2005, 8, and 2006.
21, 20.
Yeah, something like that. Somewhere between the ages of 20 and 22, 23 was probably all of us. And we're driving, and of course we're telling them like, oh yeah, we're in this, video game tournament. That's why we're heading here. We're going to go compete in this video game tournament. And they look at us like, Okay. They go through these other questions. They're like, okay, that's some all really cool stuff, guys. Could you do me a favor and pull over right over there and get in there and basically put your hands behind your head and we're going to hold a gun to you while we go through and search your car. Okay, they didn't do any of that. But like that's how it felt when they're like, oh, we need to go through and search your car. Can you move over there and you guys all need to clear out? We're going to like bring the K9 squad in or whatever they did. And they're going to search the whole car. And I had a Tahoe, like a big SUV at the time, and we had all of our stuff in the back. We all were bringing our Xboxes and stuff so we could play in the
tube TVs.
Yeah, the hotel room. So we had like tube TVs and all this other stuff. And God, Brian, how long did they sit there and search our stuff?
Oh, easily like 45 minutes.
Just forever, going through every single thing. And they're like, are you sure you guys don't have anything on you? We're like, video games. We have a shit ton of video games on us. And like, you know, even Tony and I brought the guitars for Guitar Hero at the time because the Dragon Force pack had just come out.
Oh, yeah.
3 new Dragon Force songs. Speaking of Dragon Force, we were going through those, but I absolutely loved being there. Like that was a fun city for us to be in. Our hotel was right near the convention center that we were playing at. And
it was clean.
It was very clean. And the place we were at, the convention center had some kind of con going on at the same time. Like it was a con, and then on the far side of it was basically the tournament. So like we got full access all days to this con. Like at the time, G4 was there. They had like a booth set up for them to do live. Like, oh, we're here at, you know, Canada Con, whatever this place was called.
Canada Con.
And so, I don't know. I just had a lot of fun. That was my first con experience of any form. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And it just was a lot of fun. I liked walking around the city. You didn't feel like you were going to get shot anywhere. So it was a pretty fun thing overall.
Did you get searched going into Canada?
Yes.
Yep.
Wow.
And we got harshly talked to when we were coming back because the US side of things, they are just angry all the time.
I have, every time I've gone to Canada after 2001, I've had so much more trouble getting back into the US than I ever had like getting into Canada.
Well,
really?
The one thing with me, at least, how I felt on that particular trip, Brian, like they were nice, except for they just took a long time to search our stuff, you know?
Did you go through Windsor?
No, we went through Port Huron. They were really nice, like talking to us when we went into Canada. They just like stopped us and searched everything on us, right?
Yep.
That was, and even then, like, it still makes sense to me. Like, it's 5 20-year-old dudes, basically, 5 20-ish-year-old dudes going through to Canada saying they've got a video game tournament they're going to. Like, this is in 2007 where, like, you didn't see esports everywhere. Or,
Yeah,
you know,
true.
not even that mainstream people would know esports right now anyway. But at least there's maybe a little bit more like, oh, yeah, I heard you can make money doing that. Like, this is a little bit before then. And so I guarantee you they're sitting there just like, no, this is false.
Yeah, we look shady because like we're coming in with like, all this electronic stuff, and we're like, yes, we're here to play this, not sell illegals.
Yeah, so I kind of understood that, and afterwards, like, okay, thanks, guys, be on your merry way. And coming back in, it was just the harshest grilling I've ever gotten into my life.
The fuck were you doing?
Yeah, like,
Basically.
why'd you have to go to Canada to do this tournament? I'm like, because that's where the tournament was. He's like, well, why didn't you do a US one? I'm like, well, it's in the US all the time, but like, you know, we're trying to face off against the best in the world, and eventually someone's going to have to leave the country to go face the best in the world type thing. So, and he just was a major, and I know that's his job, and
Major asshole?
yeah, major asshole. So it just was annoying on that end of things. I remember gas being it cost me like $140 to fill up my tank when we were driving back. Michelle, what are the things that you've done while in Canada? What were some of the reasons you've went over there?
So, the first time I went over there, I convinced my parents to take me illegally because I wanted to piss off my dad.
What?
Okay, so this was back, I was probably like 6 or 7, maybe 8 at the most. And for those of you who are unaware, I mean, I don't know if it was like this everywhere on the Canadian border, but at the Michigan-Canadian border, this is pre 9/11, there wasn't a whole lot going on. It was pretty much just, you know, hey, how long are you staying? Okay, thanks, have a nice day. And we were in Port Huron, I think, just kind of hanging around, and I just kept looking over across to Canada, and I'm like, Mom, let's go to Canada. And she's like, no, we can't, like, I'm not, because my parents were divorced, she's like, I'm not allowed to take you out of the country without your dad's permission. And like, there was no way my dad was going to give permission, and it wasn't like I was like, you know, let's go forever. So I was just like, no, let's just cross the bridge and just hang out, and you know. And I finally convinced her, so that's what we did. So we drove across the bridge, we went to a park, I got out of the car, and I was like, yes, I went to Canada without my dad's permission. And I was like, okay, we can go home now.
That's all you wanted to do.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to do. But I mean, it was kind of pointless because I never actually told my dad, but it was kind of like just like this secret, like, haha, I got away with this.
I went to Canada and you didn't know.
But every other time that I went to Canada after that was during my adult life, so.
Aw.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's say when you have gone into your adult life, I was talking about Niagara Falls. Have you ever been there?
I have not. For my 20th birthday, we went to casinos in Windsor. And then the other times that I went to Canada, I went and hung out with Toasties, one of the people from my stream. And we went to a Halloween Fright Fest at Canada's Wonderland, which is their Cedar Point.
That sounds so much fun.
That does actually sound like a good time.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah. I like Niagara Falls quite a bit. As I mentioned the Maid of the Mist before, and for those of you who know what that is, then you might appreciate it. But if those of you who've never heard of it, it is basically something that they used to do where you would what you would do is you would essentially go into it, and it was like kind of like a VR thing, but before VR, where it was like kind of like one of those rides where it has the virtual effects of like makes you feel like you're going over like you're on a ride basically, but you went over the falls. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's really cool.
Yeah, I've never been to Niagara Falls, but John has been there before, and he's pretty like adamant that like the first like big vacation that we take together is going to be there because he loves it there.
It's awesome.
I've never been, but it looks amazing.
But you're in Canada a lot though, Burke, right?
No, not really.
Well, I mean, you've been there more than Greg, so I mean, I assume that's. I'm going to say that's a lot.
Yeah, it's not that many times. I mean, like I don't know if I've ever gone to Toronto, so I don't even, because I know I've gone to Detroit a few times, but I don't know if I've ever crossed into Canada there. But I know I have in the UP when I was young. I don't really remember much about it besides the whole trip was probably the first time I saw snow, maybe. So
I like how Burke's been to the UP more than I have too.
Yeah, really.
So I guess the ones I do remember is going to Calgary. My mom had some work off-site thing, and so that she had to do. So because she went up, so did we, and that was awesome. And then I've been to Seattle, and then gone up into Vancouver, and been to Whistler as well.
So twice. Did you catch a Flames game and a Canucks game while you're up in those two cities?
No, not at all.
Boo.
At that time, I had no idea what hockey was. So,
oh, come on, Burke! Hockey's your favorite.
I don't mind it now. Now that it's fun to watch.
Yeah, now, but
I'll still watch soccer any day.
Which brings me to my favorite reason for Canada: hockey.
Yay!
Same. Thank you, Canada.
Did they actually make hockey?
I
officially?
I wouldn't be able to say if they made it, but it's definitely the country that popularized it, pretty much for the world. I mean, it's one of
interesting.
those things where it's hard probably for anybody to say exactly like
First played in 19th century Canada.
there.
Good
So
idea.
it says that, and like
There it
baseball's
is.
one of those things where people say it started in New York, but like there's other places that they played something very similar, you know, and then you just change 2 rules and it's morphed into something else, and they're like, oh well, that's the start of baseball. I'm like, well, what about the one where they kind of ran backwards? Well, that doesn't count. So it's one of those things where I can't say for sure that Canada's the first place that ever was like, oh, let's get out there on the ice there with these sticks and start shooting a little oblong thing at each other. So
I mean, if they did, that'd be kind of
It'd be
fun.
great.
I mean, yeah. I mean, so have you guys, speaking of Canada and weird things that they do, you guys ever had fries in Canada?
Yeah, with
Mm.
poutine because it's delicious.
Oh, I was gonna say with the vinegar.
no.
Yeah, that's
That's
so,
a
so like if you
British
go to any
thing.
restaurant there, they go, all right, do you want ketchup, mustard, or vinegar?
That's a British thing because with fish and chips, you always get vinegar with fish and chips over there.
Yeah, they say in Canada it's the same
Ah.
thing but it's with any time you get fries, and then they'll have that at like McDonald's.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I love vinegar on my
Yeah.
fries.
Do ya?
Ever since Scotland.
Do you
Huh.
put ketchup on your steak?
Oh fuck, I can't do that shit. I don't even put A1 on my steak, man.
I don't
I
either.
used to when I was a
hate
kid.
A1.
Oh, I don't put like give me a good steak and I'll eat it by itself, or or I'll take a lovely blue cheese like sauce that I have to make myself.
You just get a good steak and a little bit of salt and pepper. That's all you need.
Oh yeah,
But we're talking
definitely.
Canada, not steaks.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Brian, I heard there was a dark side of Canada.
Yes. So I was gonna say, are you guys
I
ready
don't
for me
believe
to burst the bubble
This
of
is
Canada?
a fake story. I'm just saying it's
Fake
fake,
news.
right now. Calling bullshit.
Failing New York Times.
Brian's alternative facts.
Is it when a hockey player checks someone else and doesn't apologize?
Sorry.
No.
Okay.
No. This is a real story of a real life man named Brian and his adventures in Canada as a young man. So here's what happened. I was in.
Was this before or after you made off with a bunch of Pokemon cards?
This is long after that. This is basically I would have been in late high school or early college, somewhere in that range.
He screwed them out of
Still-
all their Pokemon cards. Now they're getting them back.
My God. No, at this point I would be late teens, not say probably not in the 20s yet, probably late teens ish. Okay. So what happened was that my father says to me, hey, I've been working in Canada. Do you want to come to Canada? And I go, sure, why not? And it was basically I got 3 or 4 days in Canada because he got free stay because he was working up there and what have you, right? So while I'm there, there's not a whole lot for me to do. And the first thing I discovered about Canada's dark side is number one, their TV is way darker than ours. Like their TV and their humor and their comedy is super dark and edgy. Like, have you guys ever watched Canadian TV before?
No, but I've heard about it. I've heard about Degrassi.
I've heard it's like British television, like a very dry sense of humor.
Very dry sense of humor, and unlike American TV where everything ends on like, oh, but it all worked out in the end. Thanks, guys. And it's all happy ending and they play the end music, play the end music. So instead of doing that, like their episodes will sometimes end and it's like, that was a downer and it just ended. Oh God, Canada takes risks.
Well,
Like-
I mean, that's not really a dark side because when you're watching
No,
TV,
this-
like
I'm
no,
ramping
when you're
up here,
watching
Michelle.
TV, you're watching, a world that you can't be a part of. And so Canada's showing a dark world that they're not a part of.
That's true. I'll give you that. But I meant like, the other thing that got me was like even their cartoons. Like, did anyone ever watch Clone High?
What?
What?
Yeah, exactly. So for my Canadian friends out there, I'd say I'm dropping some references. Clone High. It was a cartoon in Canada that basically was almost exactly what it sounds like, which is in high school you have a clone of Abraham Lincoln, who's the main character, Joan of Arc, Gandhi, Cleopatra, and what's his name, JFK, and a bunch of other like famous people who have died. They have been cloned and they're all the same age, going to high school together. Like, it's really hard to explain, but it was really dark, really funny. And there's an episode where Jack Black comes in as a raisin pusher. Yeah. I kid you not.
What?
Jack Black is there and he sells raisins as if they're drugs. And everyone's smoking raisins.
Wow.
It's fucked up. Like, it's amazing, but it's fucked up. It's really crazy. So, like, I watched the entirety of Clone High, like, during those 3 days. They just had a marathon on and I just watched all of it. But anyway, so there was, okay, so I saw that and I'm like, wow, Canada has a weird sense of humor. That's kind of interesting. But, you know, I chalked it up to just like one random thing, right? Well, then I found out that Canada, it's like loves gambling, you know, more than a lot of other places. You know, they have tons of casinos everywhere. And I'm like, okay, sure. Maybe I can, you know, like let that go with the gambling thing. But then my dad's boss made a very interesting suggestion to him. And it basically redefined my view of Canada. And this is where I tell you the story. My dad has me there and he knows that I'm kind of like not like bored, but kind of bored because I just don't have anything to do during the day while he's at work, right? Well, he asked his boss, where should I take my son to dinner tonight? And he says, oh, I got a place for you. And he suggests the name of this place to go. Well, we go to that place and sure enough, guess what kind of place it was, Craig?
Oh, is it where the
Gay bar.
the girls get down to their beaver pelts?
Yep.
Yep.
Sure was. It was a strip club. so there I am. It's a late teens, very, you know, like I said, you're definitely not early, you're not 21 yet, you know, of course. But so I can drink. And we get there and we're like, well, this is in the middle of nowhere on a Tuesday, and it's like, and his boss sent us to a strip club. I guess we're going in to have a beer. And sure enough, the one and only time that I've ever been in a strip club was in Canada. And so we go in there and I have a beer, and it was really, this is like one of those hilarious moments that I'm like, wow, I will never forget this as long as I live kind of moments. So basically, ever since then, every time I went back to Canada, I can't help but notice every time I drive down the roads, I'm like, there's a strip club. There's a strip club. There's a strip club. And nobody points that out when you go to Canada, but I promise you, they have a lot of them.
Yeah.
So in doing research, I
Strip
actually no, but I did come across a thing that in Canada, prostitution is entirely legal, but hiring prostitutes is not. So it's completely okay to be one. It's just not okay to hire one.
So I wonder how that market works then. What's the rules?
So, I mean, a woman can be a prostitute, or, you know, whoever can be a prostitute.
But just not have clients?
They're not the ones. Well, I mean, they're going to have clients, but the clients are the ones committing the act that's illegal, rather than, like here, it's the prostitute who's doing what's illegal, but it's the people hiring her in Canada that are doing what's illegal.
Oh, I got you.
Interesting. Okay.
So
It may explain why they're very open about strip clubs as well. Apparently, they're very just like, hey, love yourself.
no wonder everybody there is so happy and so relaxed. Everyone is just always like running around going to strip clubs all day. There you go. There it is. That's the secret of Canada, everybody. I would love to have a Canadian like come on the show and or at least like send us a message and correct us on this. And I'm like, that is incorrect. It's like, in fact, we do not support that whatsoever. But
I wonder if they want to go to the mall today.
oh man, it's a little Robin Sparkles.
Oh,
Can I bring
yeah.
something up that might make a lot of you hate me
Go ahead.
about Canada? Their national anthem is like 4 billion times better than ours. Like in every way.
off the
It's-
podcast.
It is so much better than ours in terms of like a musical. If you're not, I'm not talking
actually
like
don't even know it.
association. I'm not talking like association with like, oh, freedom or whatever. I'm talking if you were to listen to that as a song and listen to the United States as a song, Canada's is just, it's just so much better. Like, I think it sounds beautiful the entire time. And I just don't like the pacing of ours very much. I think that might be part of it. The pacing just seems weird, but the Oh Canada is just such a great
Tune.
national anthem. It's just beautiful.
Is it on your iPad?
No, but I used to have a CD with it on it.
Would you say that the can? Okay, isn't it based on another? Or isn't there another song that has a very similar tune to "O Canada" that like we have?
I don't know.
No. Seriously, I'm trying to think about this now. There's a song of ours that's along the lines. I know that it's like there's the "Oh Canada," and it's like we have something that opens up very similar to that. I'm trying to think of what it is now.
Oh, sake.
No, God dang it! I know the difference between.
Oh, Canada and the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah, I really do. Speaking of the Star Spangled Banner versus the "O Canada" song, did theirs have rockets in it? Oh, I'm sorry. No. Oh, okay. All right. Just checking.
No, theirs is just beautiful the entire way through.
If you could stand up there on the national stage after, say, you win the gold medal in, I don't know, Craig, what do you want? Gold medal in whatever category you want.
Hockey,
great. You won it. Would you rather have them play like a custom like song for you, or would you rather play your country's national anthem? Like, in all seriousness, like what would you choose?
My country's national anthem, like, for fucking sure.
So you'd listen to the shitty American one, apparently, is what you said.
Yes.
So you're calling the American one shitty?
I'm calling the Canadian one a lot better.
Oh, I'm just making sure the NSA heard that you were the one who said that. Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I love Canada's national anthem. It sounds a lot better than the US's. Again, a lot of people are going to go into like, well, yeah, but freedom and whatever and whatnot.
I was written on a boat during a war.
I'm not talking about any of that. I'm literally talking about how it sounds. Like, it just sounds better in my head.
So
And, like, I'm not
Like
attaching.
if you take away the fact that it's an anthem and you're comparing it as two songs,
I'm taking away the
it's a better song.
Yeah, I'm taking away the emotion of it being connected to your country or any
I don't
country
know
for
if I
that
can
matter.
do that.
Yeah, that's impossible.
I'm listening to both songs.
Well, you're Texan. There's no way you could ever do that.
Yeah, I
Good
can't
point.
do it either.
Good point.
I'm with
Good
Burke on
point.
this.
Like I just listened to "O Canada." Right now I'm, at the Rockets Red Glare. I'm past that just a little bit in our anthem. And I have chills listening to our anthem. Maybe it's, it's probably the whole backstory. But I think like musically the old one, it's more even and there's never really a pause. I think this I can't take the anthem out of it, I guess. Like this one makes me want to stand and
Yeah,
go Yahoo. It's got more energy to it.
I agree. Now, the one thing I will say though is, as much as I, love the U.S. versus Canada, Canada did whoop our ass in the only war we ever fought against them. Like between the Revolution and the War of 1812, America decided it'd be a good idea to expand our land to the north and marched into Canada. And do you know how we lost? The answer is
No.
badly, but beyond that,
Incredibly.
yeah, incredibly. But but like in all seriousness, here's exactly what happened. The people of
Let me just go edit my quiz real quick.
oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to stop telling the story then?
Nope, you're. It's already too late. Just go for it.
Anyway, the point is, can I just get the point now? Like, for fucking knowing this, and if anyone else actually knew it, they can admit it, please. But the point is that they marched up into Canada, and basically think of it as everything that we learned during the Revolutionary War. They just threw out the window, and they're like, "We're gonna fight like the British fight and march in a straight line." And then Canada's like, "We're gonna hide in the trees and attack you like you did those other guys." They were like, "Fuck, didn't think of that," and we got our asses beat and retreated back. Oh, I'm sorry,
Well,
Michelle. I didn't mean to ruin your quiz. Or,
It's fine.
Speaking
It
of
was
quiz.
just one question.
Speaking of the quiz.
Are you guys ready to take it?
I am if
I
I'm a
think
1
we
point
are.
up.
Okay, I will actually. Okay, Brian, I will give you the point if you can tell me how many times we invaded Canada.
How many times total we invaded Canada?
Yes.
2.
Okay, he's correct. He can have the point.
Yay! Hey, remember that time I got a history minor and everyone said that'll do you no good? Joke's on you, America.
Fine. 1 bonus point.
All right, so that leaves us with 14 questions, which is still a decent amount. For the most part, I'm pretty sure I avoided number questions, so this should be pretty straightforward. I think the 1 number question I had, I actually made multiple choice.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to determine turn order real quick? Because I did not do that.
I went first last week, so he's not me
I will
first.
go first.
Okay, I was gonna say I can go first
It will
too.
be John, Craig,
Ooh.
and
Who
Brian.
the fuck is John?
Who's John?
John?
Someone say John.
Who? John Jones?
I even wrote my name is John, which I never do that.
I was so confused. Like, I know that's your name, but I don't think about it being your name at all.
I picture you signing checks as just strictly Burke.
And if you could read my signature, probably. It's usually a J and then a burr. Or something.
That's where you're wrong. That'd be Burke paying somebody.
All right, so we're going to do Bert, Craig, Brian.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. All right. First question then. In terms of total land area, where does Canada rank in size in the world?
Oh crap! I go first. Dadgummit. I'm looking at the order and just yeah. Let's go with land mass 2.
I'm gonna go with 11th.
I'm gonna say just strictly land mass for the country, right?
Yes.
So 3, I think.
Okay. Burke actually gets the point because it is 2. The only country that's bigger than Canada is
Russia.
Russia.
Russia, yeah.
I almost said 3, but then I was like, oh yeah, Antarctica is not a country.
All
Yet.
right.
Australia must be 3 then.
Yeah, I would think.
See, I wasn't sure about like how far
I don't know.
certain
I feel
places
like Australia
extended.
is not actually that big.
Well, Australia can fit in, I would say, the U.S. I would say U.S. because of Alaska would be 3, and then maybe China, then Australia.
Yeah. That sounds like it could be right.
Russia,
but Greenland.
Canada, U.S., China.
Russia,
are the top
Canada,
4.
US. Okay.
Probably then Greenland.
Russia,
Australia.
Canada, U.S., China, Brazil, Australia, India, Argentina, Kazakhstan, Algeria.
Kazakhstan.
Yep.
Where's Greenland in there?
12. Right after Congo or the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
How?
Hmm.
It's huge.
Greenland is 2.1 million and 2.16, and Congo is 2.3, Algeria 2.3, 2.7, 2.7, 3.2, blah,
I
blah,
guess
blah.
a lot of Greenland's ice.
Yeah, so it might not be.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting because it's huge.
Anyway,
Okay, sorry.
question number
All right.
2.
Yeah.
That's okay. This one is the number question and it is multiple choice. About how many residents of Canada have college degrees, making them the most educated country in the world? A, a quarter, B, half, C, 3/4, or D, all of them.
I'm going to go with D because that sounds like fun.
I'm going to go with B because that sounds like fun.
I'm going to go with C because that sounds like a bad time.
All right, Craig gets the point here. It's about half.
Nice.
Half the residents of Canada have degrees.
Have college degrees.
That's impressive. I knew it wasn't 100%, but
No.
I wanted
can
to
help.
be.
Good job, Canada.
Yeah, really.
That's impressive.
Number 3. Canada consumes more of what food than any other country in the world?
Donuts.
Don't you like donuts / Timbits?
It's the only food stereotype I could think of.
Maple syrup.
Oh,
Good
that
one.
was honestly what I was going to
Ooh.
say too. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to say
Ooh.
syrup.
Okay, so while they do have the most donut stores of any country, they actually eat more macaroni and cheese than any other country does.
Really? With how much
Yep.
you see
Mac
people
and
talking about it in
cheese?
the U.S., they
Yep.
somehow eat more mac and cheese.
I doubt that. I eat more than all the Canadians.
Kraft's just throwing this shit into Canada.
I would have to dig again for the sources, but yep, that is what I
Wow.
found. They eat a lot of macaroni and cheese, apparently.
Huh.
I know
I
mac
would
and cheese.
never. I would seriously. You could have gave me like 8 years, and I would never have gone to that.
Number 4. Residents of Churchill, Canada, leave their cars unlocked in case pedestrians need to escape from what?
I'm gonna go with a moose.
I'm gonna go with mountain lion.
I'm gonna go with bear.
Okay, I'm gonna give Brian the point because the answer is polar bears.
Yeah.
Polar
Damn,
bears
that
are
was my
fucking-
second.
Yeah,
Except for I've heard of two different things in the last. This is a long period. Last 6 months, I heard two different mountain lion attacks in Canada. That was what I was going off of.
Bear was my gut reaction, but I wanted to say moose.
That's
Yeah,
similar.
bear was my gut reaction too.
That was
Damn.
Burke's astrological sign, isn't it? Bobcat.
Yes, and zodiac sign, and
Oh, that's what it is. Zodiac. Sorry,
I got it right, and you. Wow.
I said astrological sign. It's whatever. It's
Yeah, you
played
get a
it, yeah.
negative point for that one.
On a quiz that's been over for months.
All right, go ahead.
Number 5. What is the zip code for North Pole, Canada, where nearly 1 million letters to Santa get sent each year? Hint, it's 6 characters long.
Yeah, I look at freaking postal codes of Canada all day long, and I still don't know what they're like. I'm gonna go with 101-101. And those I have no idea.
Brian, do you want to go next? Because I'm going to say mine no matter what.
I think it's 999999.
I'm going to go with 040404.
Okay. So none of you are correct, although Burke and Craig were kind of on the right track. It's H0H0H0 to spell ho ho ho.
That's why I went with the
Oh,
4s. If you flip it upside down, that's why I went 04. You flip it upside down, it says ho ho ho.
It's not a calculator, Craig. It doesn't work like
You're
that.
a calculator.
80085. Everybody knows that one.
Craig's like, I can't spell the word with the actual letters. Like, we got to find a way to do this.
Well, you said, did you say zip code?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
They use letters in their zip codes.
They use letters, and
You see,
that's why I said
that's-
O, not 0.
That's information that I didn't know.
I tried to give
and
that hint
that's
by
why.
saying 6 characters rather than 6
Numbers.
Quiet
Craig's
you
like-
and your logic,
Craig's like,
okay?
that's not
I
fair.
don't need to hear this shit.
He's like, that's not fair.
I am ignorant to Canadian postal codes, and I will fight you to my death like a real American.
Yeah, he's like, that's not fair. I didn't know the answer. Oh, God.
Oh, shit.
Whenever Michelle makes the quiz, the wheels come off.
All right. Number 6. Canada has not had what since 1984?
A bad day. No.
Let's go with a hurricane.
A Canadian action film.
I was going to say a tornado.
Okay, the weather ones probably aren't wrong. I'd have to do research. But the actual answer is weapons of mass destruction.
Wait, they gave up all their WMDs in 1984?
Sure did.
We can take them now. This is our shot. Number 3 is our chance. Go, boys, go. We'll take them on all that oil. I mean, syrup.
And they've been very open about it in treaties and stuff.
Straight line marching, boys. Get right in there.
Don't pack enough provisions. We won't need them.
Are you guys wearing reflective North Face coats?
Yes, it's cold.
Marching.
Oh, God.
All right. Number 7. What did Canada do after the attack on Pearl Harbor?
Yeah. Pearl Harbor. I actually have nothing. I can't even think of anything witty. I got nothing. Let's go with they had a parliamentary meeting, or however you say that word.
They sent in relief Tim Hortons to the area.
God damn it.
I think that they were involved in they threw a party because they knew that America was going to get involved in the war like Winston Churchill did.
Okay, so being the lovely neighbors to the north that they are, they actually declared war on Japan before we did.
Damn,
Fuck, I knew
They
that.
Canada.
rose up
I
in our
fucking knew
defense
that.
and went after Japan.
Oh, shit.
Fucking Canada. I love those guys.
I know.
People always say.
They're,
People
they're like
always
that
say.
friend after you get sucker punched, they're jumping in and already fighting before you realize you're in a fight.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like people say, like, oh,
That's
Britain
good.
is like America's oldest ally or whatever. It's like, no, to hell with that. Canada's new number one, bro.
Mhm.
They really are. All right, number 8. The name Canada comes from the Iroquois language. What does it mean?
Oh God.
Let's go with tundra.
The land of maple syrup.
The Great Land.
All right, so I found this kind of hilarious, being that it's the second largest country in the world, but it actually means village.
Wow. I thought you were going to say like it means warmonger. I'm like, really? But village, huh?
It means we didn't give up our WMDs in '84. It's actually a lie. We still have them in the basement.
Oh, that's their entire. That's why their
Sorry
north is
for
frozen
lying.
over. They're like, oh yeah, so it's all frozen up there. No need to go up looking for anything. Meanwhile, they've just been building up their arsenals. I was like, oh my god,
Meanwhile, they've had Captain America hit up there for years.
those bastards. Now I'm against them.
All right, number 9. What is Canada's official phone number?
Does America have an official phone number?
I don't know.
How do you have an official phone number?
So I have 2
Is it
hints
s-
for this.
Is it 7
Um,
or 10 numbers?
It's a 1-800 number.
Okay.
It is 7, and I will take it in either number form or like what it spells, because it does spell something.
I'm going to go with O, Canada, minus the H.
That's true because the H isn't in the actual title. It's just literally O. But I'm going to go with the same thing. I was going to try and be clever and figure out the number, but I'm not clever.
I was doing this. I was counting on my fingers.
We care with an exclamation point at the end for the 6th digit.
So sorry.
So sorry.
As hilarious as that would be, Burke and Craig are correct. It is 1-800 Canada.
I was thinking it might be 1-800-T Horton.
Which equates to 1-800-622-6232.
Wow, I really didn't think that was gonna be right. When they said it, I was like, oh, that's pretty funny, but like that's not right. And
No, that's legit.
God dang it, Canada.
That's good.
Number 11, because I have to skip 10 because that was the one that Brian answered prematurely.
Sorry.
Despite
Wow,
having
number 11 lives. Sorry.
what was considered the most advanced space program in the world, what place did Canada take in the space race of the 50s/60s?
Third.
$11th.
I think it was third.
Okay, yep, Burke and Brian get it. It was third behind the US and the USSR.
Back to the USSR.
No, they went away. Let's not bring them back.
Sorry, the Beatles got in my head.
No, I know. I mean, I recognize the song. I'm like, nah, I'm good without those guys.
Number 12. Canada, along with Russia, Mexico, India, and Israel, put what on its paper/plastic money?
Hmm.
Can you repeat that question?
Yep, Canada, along with Russia, Mexico, India, and Israel, put what on its paper/plastic money?
God, I can't even think of any similarities that would make sense. Let's just go with a picture of the queen, even though it's totally not right.
I'm going to go with a scent.
See, in my head, I was thinking about that reflective, like foil paper on it. It's either that or baby powder, but yeah, I'm gonna say the reflective paper thing.
Okay, so you are all incorrect. All of those countries actually put braille markings on it for the blind.
What?
That's cool. There's Russia?
Yep.
Okay. Is Russia, Israel, who were the other countries?
Mexico and India.
Mexico. Okay. Interesting. Cool.
All right, number 13. In 1967, what famous landmark was almost relocated to Canada?
A famous landmark that was almost moved to Canada?
Yes.
Do we know the origin country? Or probably where? Okay, I probably can't even ask that. Let's go with... What was it, a North American landmark?
I'm not going to say because it's going to make it too obvious.
Okay. Let's go with the Eiffel Tower.
Sheesh. I'm going to go with the third largest pyramid from Egypt.
The third largest.
What a
What's the largest? -5 points.
what year was this? I'm sorry.
1967.
1967. Oh God.
1967.
Yeah, in the 60s, what would go to Canada?
Austin Powers.
All right, you know what? Let's just say that we were going to lend him the Statue of Liberty.
I was hoping somebody would say that, even though it's wrong. I just thought it would be hilarious if somebody answered that.
Oh yeah.
But Burke actually gets the one because it was the Eiffel Tower.
Really?
Yep.
Whoa.
Why would they? What? That's what? That's like the only thing in France.
Yeah, I couldn't find details about whether it was like a passing thought or
Notre
like if there
Dame
was
de
like
Paris.
serious
No, I said the only
deliberation
thing
about it, but
in France, Burke.
that's what I was like. I can't see where it's from because it's gonna be way too obvious.
Hitler was in France.
Yeah, and that's what. And why do you think he left? There's nothing to see after they got rid of the Eiffel Tower. There you go. Boom.
Oh, that's good.
All right, number 14. Canada and Denmark have been fighting over an uninhabited island since the 1930s. How do they conduct these fights?
Oh God, I've heard this before.
Could you repeat that one more time?
Yep, Canada and Denmark have been fighting over an uninhabited island since the 1930s. How do they conduct these fights?
I think I know part of this. So do you want me to go last or
That's
just
up to you
say it?
guys.
Doesn't really matter.
I'll go first just to go. They are on their ships. They drop by and they put up an even bigger flag than the last time.
I'll say that there's some sort of boxing match.
I think it has something to do with drinking.
Okay, so I'm going to give Burke half a point and Craig half a point because the answer is they leave each other bottles of alcohol and they change out the flag.
That's
Wow.
So they just kind of show up and they're like, "Oh shit, they were here." Leave some alcohol, change the flag, and leave again.
That's the best. That God dang it, Canada, you're even doing more better than us. Like, damn you.
That's awesome.
It's like they're like trying to out nice each other with the liquor, and then they're like, "Oh, but I'm gonna change the flag still. Like, we need to make it clear this is my island."
Oh, we're sorry about taking your island here. We're going to leave you some liquor so that you can have a little bit of a good day afterwards.
I'm trying to think about. I was going to play the other side of that as a Dutch person, but I have no idea what a Dutch person sounds like. So I would have ended up being like the Austin Powers, like you know what I mean? All right. So yeah, I have no idea. Move on.
All right, and the last question here. Hawaiian pizza was actually invented in Canada and is the most popular pizza flavor where?
Oh God. Are you looking for a country?
Yes.
Okay. China.
I would say it's in the state of delusion where Brian lives. India.
I was going to say either England or Japan. So Japan.
Okay. So none of you get the points. Australia.
Australia loves us. Loves
So
it. Wow.
Hawaiian pizza was invented in Canada, and Australians love it.
Well, who wouldn't? It's the best kind of pizza.
I
Oh,
completely
You are
disagree
a
with you.
monster.
Disgusting.
You are a monster.
You
Pineapple
can
on
take your
pizza.
Hawaiian
Podcast.
pizza and your Chipotle and be out of the podcast.
Yeah, and I'll join another
You-
one that actually enjoys flavor, folks.
You did get voted out of the podcast by one of our
did.
I
listeners.
That's
saw
a
that.
first.
I saw
That's a
that.
first.
Did not appreciate it.
Did not appreciate it.
Notice I remained silent during that part of the conversation, and that was
I had to.
I saw it.
I had to
don't
not
get me wrong. I
vote
saw
from
it.
like 90. I had to not vote from like 94 accounts on the Keto with Chipotle thing. I was like, I can't vote at all. That's not the point. It's listeners that are voting, not me.
yeah, and a little salty. That's all I'm going to say. That's why you bounce the salty of like ham out with that. I don't know, something sweet like pineapple. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. The good pizza.
Mm-mm. No.
Burke, what was the totals?
All right, Michelle, you sounded like you were tracking it too. So if I'm wrong, I blame you. I mean, I blame Canada. Sorry. Brian comes in last place with 2.
Yeah, that's a.
Craig comes in second place by 0.5. So 2.5.
Man.
And then I think I won somehow with 5.5.
Yep,
Burke,
that sounds about
you're the
right.
most Canadian.
The
Oh,
Texan
shit.
knows the most about Canada.
That's how it that's how it's been going to these quizzes.
I think you were betraying Texas.
Wow. Burke, oh my God. Where did you get that hockey jersey from, Burke? Oh my God, you're drinking surf straight out of the jug. Burke, what's happening? Oh my God.
What happened to some of your teeth?
Oh my God, you're handing out toys to orphans because you're just so nice, Burke. Burke, come back to us, Burke.
Never mind. He's from the South. He's already missing teeth anyway. Never mind.
Burke! Come back to us.
You boys like Mexico? Oh, Jesus.
Did I really lose that one? I want to say that Burke lied.
No.
There's no way. There's no way.
That actually sounds right, Craig.
No.
What was
I refuse to
question-
believe.
So I got question 1 right. You got question 2.
Sure. I don't care about your facts. I just don't believe that you won. This doesn't make sense. I should have won that quiz. I wanted to win that quiz. All the other quizzes, I was like, man, it can come or go. I didn't want to lose.
I've been to Canada more than you.
So wait a minute, time out. You just
You've
because
probably been to Mexico before, more than me, though.
you just because you wanted to win it, that means you think you should have won it, you snowflake. I mean,
yeah. I should have won it. I was the kid that got made fun of in elementary school because I would stand outside and listen to the national anthem and the Canadian national anthem, Star Spangled Banner, and "O Canada," while looking at we only had one flag because it was Michigan, so it's not like there was a Canada flag up there.
who's playing the other song?
I played them both.
Wait, I don't understand. You're standing out in front of where playing the national anthems.
My elementary school.
You're so weird.
On
I
what? A Walkman?
I had a CD. I had a CD.
Wait,
and a CD
what?
player.
And they just let you stand out in front of the school listening to the national anthems on a CD player?
Yeah, and I got made fun of.
Yeah, you should have been. What kind of weirdo are you?
I won the last Canada. What the fuck's wrong?
What the fuck's wrong is that you're the kid standing up in front of your elementary school listening to a CD with 2 national anthems on it.
Yeah, sang by Karen Newman. What's the? I don't see the problem yet.
I'm just picturing a little Craig saluting his little heart out, just like, I love these
No,
countries.
it was hand over the heart. I was not saluting. Sheesh, I'm not an animal. I wasn't in the service. I can't do the saluting. I had a hand over the heart.
And no one forced you to do that.
No.
This is just something you chose to do.
Yes.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
Why?
I told you I really liked the sound of Oh Canada. I loved it. And then you felt bad because you're like, well, I love my country still, so I wanted to play the U.S. national anthem one and give it as equally, if not more, respect as well. So I
Meanwhile,
rested out there for
class
both
has
of them.
started. All the kids are looking out the window at the weirdos standing there with this Walkman.
No, it was after school was done. I didn't do it before school like some kind of animal. It was after school where everybody had cleared out of the parking lot, so I wasn't in anybody's way because that's what the pole was. It was in the middle of the parking lot.
Who designs that? Who designed the fucking parking structure then? Because that's bad too.
Don't ask. This school was really bad. It was really bad. That's why I moved schools.
That's why you had to move schools? Are you sure it wasn't the standing in front of a flagpole thing?
I guess they may have kicked me out. I don't know. It was one of those two.
Okay, that's pretty good, man. Holy hell.
What? I'm still sitting here in disbelief. Like, I'm looking at Craig, going, "Is this real? Is he, or is he completely joking?" I'm so baffled. But he shakes his head and says it's real.
Oh no, it's definitely real. I'm not lying. I got made fun of too for it. And I was like, I don't care. This is awesome.
Oh my god.
So needless to say, Greg is a child, a Canadian loving child, was dunked on as a kid.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land. True patriot love in all thy sons' command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. En français! Oh Canada, terre de nos aïeux.
A Canadian loving child was dunked on as a kid because he was walking around. I can't even do it. That's so good.
Oh my god! I was just picturing him in little jorts just sitting out there. You say jorts? Jorts, of course he is. Just go with that little most fucking serum-sucking bastards. Oh my god.
Holy crap.
Oh.
Just, oh, Canada. He starts singing it.
Our home and native land. True patriot love. When all the songs come and
I was jokingly thinking about making a question like you get a point for every word you can name of the anthem in order past O Canada, but Craig would have crushed you guys.
I think you
We
would have.
stand on guard for
He
thee.
literally knows all the words.
God keep our land.
While he's still going, I'm going to mention that The Simpsons did it. They actually did a bit where they actually played the Canadian national anthem instead of the U.S. one because they said it sounded nicer.
Oh,
wow.
Canada, we stand on guard.
He's sounding more and more Canadian as we go on through this podcast.
I made a joke about Bert turning Canadian. Craig's never not been Canadian. Every time he eats bacon, it's the flat kind, the round, like basically sausage patties, the Canadian bacon.
God, Craig's the Robin Sparkles of our group. Oh my God.
Wait, were you actually being serious though? Because
I'm dead serious,
I'm really
though.
thinking that you just made this up to get a joke out of it.
No, I'm dead fucking
I
serious.
know. I'm sitting here looking at him, watching him go.
This is why we actually need to. We all need to do a Skype call because Burke and I have been on the Skype call the whole time, and like being able to see each other would make this so much more fun potentially. So I think we might have to start doing video chats on these.
I'm sitting here like. He has to be, but I'm watching him and he's dead set. There's no smile. It's not like he's trying to make a story. I'm like, my mouth was like in this half smile. I don't know if Craig saw me. I was like dumbfounded, half open smile. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it was like the people that would make fun of me was my cousin because I was in like 3rd or 4th
Did
grade or
someone
something
ever
like
get a
that.
picture of this? Please tell me they did.
I doubt.
Oh my
Because
God.
it wasn't even something my parents knew I did. It's not like I did it every day. It would be my sister would have some kind of like sports practice, and I'd be sitting out in the car waiting. And the CD was actually a CD for Detroit Red Wings. Like it had like goal horns and all this other like goal songs, and then it had Karen Newman, who was the national anthem singer. That she always sang during the playoffs. It was her doing each rendition, and then a bunch of songs like "Hey Hey Hockey Town." This is right after they won the cup in '97. So it was like all this stuff, and like I just listened to that thing like on repeat basically. And so we'd go and my parents or my mom would go inside to like go wait for my sister to be done with basketball practice or whatever she was doing, and I'd sit outside and listen to the CD in the car, and whenever the national anthems would come on, I'd get out and face the flag and put my hand over my heart and listen to both songs. And my cousin, who was graduating that year, so he was a senior, and I was like in, like I said, 3rd or 4th grade or something like that. His friends would ever once in a while see me, and they'd make fun of me to him and whatnot, and they'd get around and stuff like. They weren't being like mean. They're like, "What the fuck's this kid doing?" So it was just one of those things where they'd kind of like make fun of me for it, but it was good-natured ribbing.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I don't know. It was fun. That's where I mean, in all honesty, that's where I started. Like, I was like, man, I just really like the sound of this national anthem. And when, for me, you know, really I didn't have like that much of an attachment towards like the United States national anthem because neither one of them really, like, in a sense, meant anything to me that way. You know what I mean? Like when I was 10, like I didn't get this overwhelming like national pride at the time.
Right.
So I mean that might help why I like it better because I didn't have this like, oh fuck dude, like we are so lucky to be in this country. I love what we do most of the time and blah blah blah. So I don't know if maybe that's part of it, but like I'm being dead serious. I love their national anthem so much.
No, I mean, I believe that you loved it. I just thought you were making up the story about standing at the flagpole in the middle of a parking lot.
Nope. No, the parking lot was really stupid. It was this one. It wasn't jorts, Brian, because I wasn't allowed. I wasn't allowed to wear at the school. You're not allowed to wear shorts. You have to wear like dress pants and like a collared shirt and shit. It was a private school, so we had a dress code. So it was never jorts. And I'd sit out there, hand over heart. It's a good time.